Thank you. That was Matt Jackson, Executive Director for Hope for Three. Matt mentioned quite a few things I want to expand on. The get your pens ready. He mentioned Senator Lois Kolkhorst and her phone number in her local office is area code 281 980 3500. Again, that's 281 980 3500. And she is based out here in the Katy area. So she is the senator that Matt mentioned. Thank you for this. Kolkhorst. Lois is Lois. Also, before we get to our next speaker, I wanted to recognize Miss Hope Montgomery one more time. I've heard your story. I didn't know that was you sitting here. You should have seen her. She's been smiling, the cutest little lady right here. She's been smiling all morning, and I had no idea she's the reason why we're here. And so I want to acknowledge you one more time. Thank you, ma'am. Please stand up so everyone can see you. Sorry to make you get up. Thank you, ma'am. She's just had the sweetest, cutest smile all morning. I just thought, oh, what a cutie. And here you are. You're the reason why we're here. So thank you. Thank you, Matt, for bringing that up. Our next speaker actually wanted to say something while Matt was speaking, so I just thought I'd introduce you, and then you can expand on whatever your thoughts were. Our next speaker is Angelique Bartholomew. She has been a volunteer in the education system, active in Fort Bend. And so before I ask her the question specifically of Fort Bend, I saw you raise your hand when Matt was talking.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today, and Hope, I really appreciate what you've started that I believe will be a legend and a legacy, not only for your family, but for families that get involved with programs like this. It's critical, as Matt said, that we really dig down into grassroots programs to deal with epidemics and changes that we're experiencing as a society as we grow. It's actually going to be the village's job as opposed to the state's job, because I've really recognized as a candidate for state representative, House District 27, that there are things that we've got to hold people accountable for. And one of them being is the continuous change that we experience in our society as it relates to children. And our growth population in the state of Texas by the end of this year will be exceeding 25%. Over 1/4% of our population will be under the age of 18. That means a lot of children. That means a lot of children that will need education. That means a lot of children that will need additional special education and those types of things. So once again, as Matt reiterated very strongly, it's critical that you not only hold your state representatives and your political officials accountable, but it is critical that you are engaged and understand and know a little bit more about those budgets and dollars that are being spent. One of which is in particularly the cap that Matt mentioned. I, for sure, am an advocate for not having a cap on special education when we recognize the growth population and what we're experiencing as a society. And since we are also using the education system as the grounds for housing and dealing with the issues of mental health and autism, we've certainly got to invest in better teachers and stronger teachers that are trained in these particular areas to be able to really deal with and bring on the support that's needed when psychologists and psychiatrists are involved in the district. It tends to really change the dynamic. So it's very difficult for teachers to manage classrooms where they are not trained in a particular area. And that kind of leads me to my personal experience as an advocate. Of course, Jackie mentioned that I'm a mom That is my priority, and that's my primary job. But I'm also a healthcare compliance and medical compliance director, assisting physicians in navigating through healthcare. And in that position, I've really run across a lot of the challenges with the ACA and a lot of the challenges that they experience as to what they can treat and not treat under those circumstances. So really understanding a bit more about healthcare and compliance kind of gives me an advantage. Another name that I would like to throw out for parents to reach out to is Garnett Coleman. Garnett Coleman is kind of seen as our Texas healthcare expert in Austin, and has really been one of the leading experts on, of course, the transformation waiver and those types of things. And those are benefits that really come into the state of Texas, where we are not in agreement with the federal government on various plans, but we need those waivers in place to really keep things aligned for families until we figure this thing out. So Garnett Coleman is another really great contact for everyone as well. But my nephew, Raymond, who I tend to get teared up, Jackie said there's going to be no tears, but my nephew Raymond was diagnosed with autism, and my family's very close. I'm from a family of 10. And I remember, more importantly, more than anything, my sister's emotions and how she dealt with the diagnosis. Like the psychologist said, it is truly not the prognosis. She was told that her son would never talk, and she'd probably have to figure out a lot of things. Raymond is extremely functional. And it is because of my sister's courage to take off work and downsize to one income, which many of our families have experienced and most of us are familiar with, downsizing from a career of well over $150,000 household down to that median income of about $42,000 to $60,000, when it takes about $60,000 to manage an autistic child annually. So my sister made a lot of adjustments. I remember admiring her strength, probably a lot like Hope's. And I remember admiring what she was willing to sacrifice. And of course, all of you sitting here have made those sacrifices in one way or another. But I am telling you that it truly is the accountability that you hold others to when you're making that sacrifice, because it is that accountability that makes your sacrifice worthwhile. And that will allow you to get things done for your children and for your family that will truly benefit you down the road. Little did I know, my daughter, just like the psychologists have said here, my daughter was different. I have 5 children. And my daughter Ryan, which is not public, it's not known, it's probably just going out today. I think I mentioned it to Matt. I knew as a parent with 4 other children, something's not right with Ryan. And I could not put my finger on it. I could not really tell exactly what it was, because Ryan is high performing. Ryan does extremely well in school. It is that social aspect that I began to identify and put my finger on when it came to the interaction with her siblings and the people closest to her, whether she did not get it or she did not understand or something triggered it. I knew that there was something different. Well, at that time, we were insured. Again, at that time, we were insured. I was able to take her to a doctor. Once again, the primary care doctor said, no, she's normal, everything's fine. But she began pulling her hair and doing certain things to take her hair out of her head. So I said, okay, there is something, and I'm not sure what. I took her to get tested. Ryan got tested, and it was early with the testing. However, they know that she's somewhere on the spectrum, but not exactly sure where, and there needs to be further testing and further diagnosis done. I'm saying that to say we have 3,000 students or 3,000 children impacted in Fort Bend County that have been diagnosed. What about those families who have not been diagnosed? What about those families who have not been tested? What about those teachers who are teaching children that they are unaware may have those concerns?
Now, I did want to, Angelique brought up State Rep Garnett Coleman. We're giving you the whole roster for the entire. Ron, don't tell them how they got these numbers, okay? No. I don't want to get in trouble. Phone number, oh my goodness. I pretend not to get older, but I'm area code 713. My arms can get so long, right? Area code 713. Oh, let me get this young lady to do it. What is it? 520? 520 5355. 713 520 5355. And that is who Angelique just mentioned, is State Representative Garnett Coleman, who is also someone that we encourage you to reach out. Actually, the questions I had for you, you covered in your statements.
Awesome. He's kind of the healthcare.
So he is very actively involved in healthcare, and our Texas House of Representatives has been for many, many years. And, you know, these elected officials need to hear from you. The fact that we have one here is good, but the reason why we're giving you all of these elected officials is because it's a collective effort. Right. As you heard Matt say earlier, even your local school districts. When I said that, I meant it. Early voting starts Monday. And it's important for you to do your research and look at who will actually be an advocate for you in the school district, in Fort Bend ISD, in Katy ISD, wherever you live in your school districts. Because if we don't elect the right person, then our state representatives will not know who to work with. And when you go to Austin, or if you go to the public education school system, you won't have a voice. That's right. And so I think that's why it's very important for us to know who our elected officials are.